Hey everybody, let's talk about Damsel. So I'm going to review this movie using my space system. So story, pacing, artistry, characters, enjoyment. Each category gets a score between 0 and 2. 2 is the best you can get in any category. Okay, so the storyline. Well, I'm going to give the storyline a 0. I'd give it negative if I could, but I can't give it a negative because I don't really believe in giving negatives. So we're just going to give it a good old-fashioned 0. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. I would need to do a commentary on this movie to explain every minute how every minute is just so awful. Nothing makes any sense. Everything that happens is a contrivance. I've never seen. We're talking like Eternals level bad, and it's worse than Eternals. Like, think of any modern movie that you thought sucked that had a bad storyline. Let's go with the Marvels, right? The Marvel storyline may as well be Lord of the Rings compared to this storyline. Everything that happens in this movie is absolutely stupid. So there's going to be spoilers because you should not watch this movie. You should thank me in the comments for watching this for you and doing this public service announcement here by telling you not to watch it. So you're welcome in advance. And if you do watch this, I warned you. Basically, the storyline is that the king and his men went and killed these 3 baby dragon eggs just because they were bored, and the female dragon mother, it's all females, the female dragon mother was very upset over this, and instead of just killing everybody, she makes a deal with the king, and the king's like, I will give you 3 royal daughters every generation or something. Okay, so forever, like in perpetuity, like how is this gonna, what deal is this? All right. So the way it works is that the kingdom finds every generation, they find 3 girls, and they just sacrifice them, but they have to make them royal. So in this movie, Millie Bobby Brown is going to be one of those girls. Now, her father's a lord, and her kingdom's not very good. It's just destroyed. They're freezing to death. They're starving to death. So he sets up a marriage with the prince and Millie, and you're like, well, why would the prince of this other kingdom even marry her? Like, what does he gain? Usually these marriages, are to set up alliances between 2 powerful kingdoms, right? This is just like, she's garbage and he's awesome, so why does he need her? This is all played out because you're like, well, I guess, like, if you've only seen one movie in your entire life, you might enjoy this movie. If you've seen more than one movie, that's to say you've seen 2 movies, then you can predict everything that's going to happen. It's super predictable. So, like, they're just going to sacrifice her, and you're like, okay, so, but she's not royal blood. Like, the whole point is that it needs to be a royal. So he marries her. It's like, yeah, but she's not royal blood, right? He's just marrying her. So what they do is he cuts his hand, and then he mixes, and they cut her hand. They think it's a ceremony. She thinks it's just a ceremony, and then they go like this, and then now she has royal blood in her that the dragon can smell, and then they sacrifice her. Now, she's the second person. So why doesn't he have scars on his hand? Like, if he keeps cutting his hand, wouldn't he have like lots of scars on his hand? Anyway, that's just plot hole 1 of 1,000. Literally every minute a new plot hole is presented to us. So they throw down, and then they do this big ceremony, and then they throw her down. You're like, well, why are they doing this ceremony? And I'm like, well, I guess it needs to be properly done so that she's a princess and all this stuff. Well, later on, they need a girl because they think Millie survived. They grab another girl, so they grab her sister, and the mom, Robin Wright, is the queen. She cuts her hand and mixes it with the kid's hand and throws her in. And I'm like, so if you could just do that, why do you have a ceremony? Why do you even have arranged marriages? Every generation literally walk out, grab 3 peasant girls, cut their hands, mix their blood, and throw them in there. That's it. Why is there even a movie? Like, at all. It's just so stupid. So Millie's thrown in there, and then she escapes the dragon, right? And then she's finding these things that help her out. Okay, fine. It's a fantasy movie. But there's all these markings on the wall of girls. So she starts to find out this, and she's like, oh, all these girls have been down here. Why are they writing their names on the wall? Like, why is that happening? And they have chalk. So someone wrote their name in chalk, and then other girls wrote their names. Like, why? And then she finds a map. She finds a map to how to escape the mountain, like the dungeon. You're like, who drew this map? She's like, oh, one of them got out. And then she climbs, and she's like, oh, no, she didn't get out. She's burnt there. It's like, well, then who drew the map? And even if the girl escaped, someone escaped, went back and drew a map how to get out? Like, it's so stupid. And then at the end, the dragon's like, oh, you were lied to and I was lied to. You've been killing innocent women. It's like, so you're telling me, oh, so they've been killing innocent women. They're not royal. So it's okay to kill the royal women? I don't understand. This movie's thing is, oh, it's okay to kill the royal blood women. Why? The royal girls, the royal blood girls, if they were killing actual princesses, that's bad too. Like, they didn't kill those dragon eggs. The dragon should literally, here's what would have happened. These guys come and kill these dragon eggs, the dragon burns them all, and then that's it. Or the dragon's pissed off and flies to the kingdom and burns everybody down. Why am I trying to be, and you're trying to make it like, oh, it's so sad for the dragon. It's like, but the dragon has killed so many innocent people, even whether they're royal blood or not. Like, the dragon is killing innocent girls anyways. Why am I on its team? It's so stupid. Everything that happens is stupid. So 0 for the storyline. 0. There's more. I have pages of notes on how bad this is. Okay. So anyways, pacing, I'll give it a 1 for pacing. It's under 2 hours, so it's not like a 3-hour movie, how they do these 3-hour movies now. So it's under 2 hours. It's like, it's not boring, but you're just like, this is so dumb. Like, as it's going on, you're just like, dumb. You're just like, this is so dumb. So I guess it's not boring. So I'll give it 1 point for the pacing. It's fine. For the artistry, this might be slightly surprising. I'm actually going to give it a full 2 marks for the artistry of it. I think a lot of people put a lot of good work into this movie. Everything looked really cool. There's a few other little creatures that pop up here and there. These little glowworm guys that can heal you if you get burned. Conveniently, they're there. There's this really cool crystal tunnel thing where Millie is trying to like climb through this tunnel. Looks pretty neat. The dragon looks pretty cool. The kingdom looks pretty awesome. Costumes all look good. Music is, I think it's supervised by Hans Zimmer. It's another person doing the music, but still pretty good. It's decent. Like, it looks really nice. And this actually makes it even worse because it's a decent looking fantasy film. And I thought, wow, this looks really cool. Like, man, this could do something. And then they've put a lot of effort into trying to give different things. Like, most of the movie, she's in that dungeon and that's kind of boring, but they did a pretty good job of showing you visually different areas of the dungeon. So you're like, oh, cool. This is like the super short, caves where you have to kind of dig your way through. And then, oh, here's like the crystal area. Oh, here's the kind of illuminated, glowworm area. They tried to do a few different things, so that was kind of neat. So I will give props, because I'm a fair reviewer. I will give props to the artistry department. Good job on all of that. Music's good. All that stuff looks really good. Characters, I was torn on this category. I wanted to give it a 1 for characters, actually. Unfortunately, as the film progressed, the characters went down. First of all of the royals or whatever are just non-characters. They have 0 personality. They're just bad guys because they're royals, so they're bad guys. And we're living in a time period now where if you're richer than someone else, you're automatically a villain. It doesn't matter. So that's stupid. There's no nuance to any of the characters. They got Robin Wright for reasons unknown. She's just there. Angela Bassett is in this movie for no reason at all. Like, who cares? Ray Winston is in it for no reason at all. I don't like, it's just like, I like him, but like, who cares? They're all just very generic bad characters. So we're left with Millie Bobby Brown. So I was going to give it a 0.5. I'm just looking at my notes here. I'm close to giving it a 0.5. I like her, but I don't know if I can give points for it because she does such stupid things. Well, she doesn't do stupid things. Everything around her is so stupid. And then she saves I'm just spoiling this whole movie. Who cares? She saves the dragon at the end because of reasons like, oh, well, you were lied to. What do you mean I was lied to? I ate people. Like, I burnt a bunch of girls. Like, oh, they lied to me. Yeah, but I still burnt them. Like, if this was a court of law in the fantasy realm, it's like the dragon is still a murderer. So why are you being friendly to it? So really stupid stuff. I'm gonna have to give it a 0 for characters, unfortunately. I'm not sure who this movie was made for. I guess it was made for Millie Bobby Brown fans. I also watched Enola Holmes Part 1, and I never reviewed it, or I did review it, and I just don't remember, but that was an awful, disastrous, garbage movie, but it was better than this. It also looked good as well. So she's got good production values, whoever she's working with, but unfortunately the stories are terrible. She's okay, I suppose. So if you want to give a point for her performance, then you can go ahead and do that. Unfortunately, I'm not going to do that today because I couldn't, at the end, I was going to give it a 0.5 for characters because she is, likable. But had she died, I wouldn't really care. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to give it a 0 for the characters. For the enjoyment factor, well, that's not going to come as a big shock for me to give it a 0 in that as well. It's absolutely terrible. It made me feel bad about fantasy movies. As soon as it was over, I just watched it tonight. I'm now going to have to watch Conan the Barbarian about 5 times to try to get this movie out of my head. This was just a disaster. It's really offensive. The fact that this is even getting made, people are putting money into it. I'm giving it a 3 out of 10, so 3 out of 10, and that's quite generous, mostly for the artistic department. And the pacing wasn't, editing was okay. Could have been a little bit shorter. It was an hour and 40 minutes or something, or an hour and 48 minutes, but there's credits. They probably could have shaved off about 10 minutes or so more, but I wasn't bored, so I'll give that. I want to be fair. I don't want to just say this is a 0 just to give it a 0. But for people who don't use my space system, who are looking for just a fun time, you're not going to have it with this movie. Even if you shut your brain off, it's not that you have to shut your brain off. You have to remove your brain. You have to have, remember Spock's brain or whatever, that Star Trek episode? You need to have your entire brain removed. You can't just turn it off or shut it down. It needs to be cut out. It's like Frankenstein's monster. Yeah, it has to be removed in order for you to get any sort of kind of enjoyment out of this movie. I think it's a bit embarrassing that stuff like this is getting made, and at no point in time did any of the writers or producers ever look at the script and think past anything. They just wrote stuff and said, oh yeah. And as the movie progresses, it starts to mess itself up. Firstly, it's so predictable. I thought, well, they're obviously going to sacrifice her because else why is there a movie? Why are they even having this, right? And then you're like, oh, I guess they have to go through the ceremony and make her an official princess in order for it to count as a royal sacrifice. But then in the end, again, Robin Wright cuts her hand, cuts the girl's hand, mixes blood, and says, okay, she sacrificed her. She's royal blood now. I'm like, well, if you could just pick any girl and cut her hand and mix your blood together, why even go through the farcical ceremony? Why even have it at all? And all of the townspeople are in it. This is like Wicker Man, right? Except in Wicker Man, it was scary and you didn't know what was going on, and you liked Edward Woodward, and Christopher Lee was an ass, and you're like, screw this guy, right? In this movie, it's just so stupid. It's everyone is just a bland character. There's no personality there. The Dragon and Millie Bobby Brown they team up at the end, and they burn the royals, and you're supposed to be like, is this happy? They're burning these people? Anyway. All right, everybody, 3 out of 10. That's my thoughts on Damsel. It's absolutely awful. It's an abomination of fantasy movies. That is it. If you like my space review system, like the video and share it. Share this video because it's a public service announcement. Even if you don't want to like the video, share it because we need to get people to not watch this terrible movie and watch something else. I just finished watching Marco Polo. That's a great Netflix show. Watch that instead. That's it, everybody. Until next time.